Welcome into a very special edition of the Broncos Breakdown because I am joined by a very special guest, former Denver Bronco running back Montee Ball. Montee, thank you so much for joining the show today. Super excited to have you on, and I can see in the background all of your Wisconsin stuff right there, and very distinguished career in Madison. So the first question I want to ask you, I mean, the all-time running back leader in touchdowns, and there's the Broncos helmet too, but all-time running back leader in touchdowns in FBS history. Did you ever lose track of how many touchdowns you had in a game during the course of a game?
I really did. I really did. Just because, we had such great coaching to where they really harped on us to block out the outside noise. And obviously it takes everybody. It takes every single person on that field to get the football into the end zone. So they made sure that my head wasn't going to get too big. So with that came me forgetting which number I'm at, all of the above, because at the end of the day, it's all about just winning.
And then quick follow-up. I mean, 83 touchdowns in your career at Wisconsin. Were there some touchdowns where it didn't even feel like you scored because it just got, old habit?
It would happen very quickly, very quickly. Usually when we hit like the 25, 30-yard line going in, I'm like, all right, this is my time. We got to finish this drive out. And that is what we would always tell each other too in the huddle. And obviously pre-snap as well. We'd be like, let's finish this drive. Finish the drive with a touchdown. Let's get 6, 7 as opposed to just 3. So that's just the mindset that we had, that killer instinct, that tenacity, that tenacious just venom in us in a sense as soon as we would cross half line.
Absolutely. So talking about the Broncos this season, super excited for the 2021 regular season. So I want to ask you and invite everyone who's watching right now to go in the comments. Let me know how many wins for the Broncos this season. Montee, what do you put it at? How many? 17? Because we're working with 17 games now. So what are you stabbing it at?
Well, let's be honest. I mean, going undefeated, a 17-0 season is obviously what we are hopeful for, what we're wishing for. But let's be realistic here. That's very, very difficult to do. I would be very, very excited if I see this Broncos team come out with a 10-11 win season. That would be extremely impressive.
Yeah,
extremely impressive.
Personally, I think this is a defense that can carry them to 8 wins, and then it's up to the quarterback play and the offense to get an extra 2 or 3 wins to get a wild card spot, because you got that team, in Kansas City that's pretty good, I think, lately. And I know you love trolling the Chiefs fans, right?
Oh my gosh, man, they're way too easy. It's been way too easy on Twitter. And here's my thing to all Chiefs fans: if you claim to be the best, and obviously Broncos have not beat you guys in X amount of years, whatever, who cares? That's the past. But if you are so just stuck in your ways of we are the best, then why are you paying attention to what I'm tweeting?
Yeah, lions don't concern themselves with sheep.
Thank you. So Chiefs fans, you're way too easy. You're way too easy to get bothered. But I'm excited. I'm thrilled for the Broncos this year. I really am.
Montee, so as a former running back, I'd love to get your insight talking about this running back duo between Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams. I'm really excited for this 1-2 punch. And what I really want to ask you is, what is it like working in a backfield that's, a little bit of a duo versus being a workhorse back where it's all on your shoulders?
Yeah. So I was fortunate enough to play with Melvin. Melvin was in the backfield here at Wisconsin the same time I was, and James White as well. And this is where I believe Melvin Gordon thrives. This is where he thrives, where you have that healthy, competitive backfield where you got this running back who's right on your heels, because I was the number 1 running back. James was behind me, Melvin was third, but we all were splitting carries. We all were making sure that each one of us pushed each other to be the best that we can. So I hope that that's what we see here with obviously Williams and Gordon back there in the backfield together.
Well, everyone, time to pick a rushing leader for this upcoming season. Let me know what you got. Melvin Gordon or Javonte Williams. MG for Gordon, JW for Williams down in the comments. Montee, who are you picking to be the rushing leader for this Broncos season?
Come on, I got to go with my guy, MG,
Yeah,
for sure.
I thought
Got to
that'd
go
be-
with Melvin.
I think that's a good answer too. Talking about Melvin, though, I did my homework. I know, 2 years at Wisconsin, you guys overlapped. You got any good Melvin Gordon stories from back in his college days?
Oh my gosh, plenty. So James White was my roommate, and Melvin lived above us, and so pretty much Melvin was like our roommate too. So he would just randomly see. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the old show for not Friday, Martin. Well, Bruh Man is in that show where Martin would just come out of his room and Bruh Man would just be in his house eating a sandwich at like 3 a.m. Long story short, there were plenty times where it'd be like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. on like a Wednesday, and I walk out of my room and Melvin's just in our living room just watching TV and just eating our food and stuff like that.
So he was the kind of neighbor that didn't need a key. He would just let himself in all the time.
Exactly. Yeah. So we were pretty close for sure. And he's a good kid. He really is. But I honestly think that he's going to do well this year because when I've been watching his preseason workouts, his training, he looks faster. His feet look better. He cut his hair. That takes a lot. Cutting his Samson hair. So he's getting very serious. And obviously, let's be honest, he knows what's at stake here. He knows where he's at. He knows where he's at in his career. He knows where he's at in his contract with the Broncos. He knows what he has to do. So he's going to perform well.
Yeah, entering his final year of his contract. Now, staying on the offensive side, the biggest storyline all training camp, all preseason was the quarterback battle between Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock. So I want to get from a player's perspective. Once Bridgewater was named the starter in Denver, what does Teddy offer as a starting quarterback that Drew just can't from a player's perspective? What intangibles does he bring? Just kind of things that as fans we may not pick up on, but you guys in the huddle do.
Yeah. I think the main thing is experience, and that's just because obviously Teddy's got obviously more games under his belt compared to Locke. That experience goes a very long way. That confidence comes with it, but also what people don't know, Teddy plays actually very well on the road. He's about 16-2, maybe 17-2 in his career on the road.
I'm glad you said that because he is like a road spread covering machine. He always does well on the road.
Yeah, and I think that's huge. You have to win games on the road. You have to. That, in my opinion, is what makes or breaks, obviously, a great team, a great season, all of the above. You have to be able to play. You have to be able to lead the offense on the road in hostile environments. In Teddy's career, his stats prove that he doesn't get rattled too easily on the road. Very important.
Joining the Broncos Breakdown, former Denver Bronco running back Montee Ball. Montee, we're getting ready for the regular season, and preseason is in the books, and it's fun as football fans because we get football back, but it is kind of tough at sometimes because you're not getting, all the starters. From a player's perspective, what's kind of the biggest difference, or not maybe a difference, but how much can we really carry over from preseason to regular season, or is it completely different and none of the things that in the preseason matter?
Right, it is tricky because, let's be honest, a lot of the defenses that they faced in the preseason, and when I say defenses, I mean obviously series by series, different fronts that they saw. They really didn't probably see that much. Defenses don't show all that they have. They just basically do their basic shell at the top, too high, maybe just to cover two man. That's it. Something very simple, not to show all that they have. So in my honest opinion, I think what you do carry over from preseason is obviously who's going to be that 50th man, 51st man, 52nd, 53rd. Who's going to be those guys right there on the cusp that's really going to help this team in the long run? It's going to help this team in practice. Who's going to help this team maybe when somebody goes down and they have to step up? That is what coaches are obviously looking for when we talk about preseason, shaving the roster down to 53. But who's going to be those guys right on the cusp that's going to be that sneaker that's going to help the team win later in the season?
Yeah, I think one of the most notable things from the preseason for the Broncos was that defense, and how well they performed. And a specific group I'm really excited for is the cornerbacks. I think Denver has the best secondary in the NFL, and they paid a premium for it. They spent out and got money and got the best corners across the NFL. So, from your opinion, where does the cornerback position rank in the NFL these days? How valuable is it? I know it's really ascending. Is it right after edge rusher as your most important group on defense?
It is very important, and I would say, it comes right after edge rusher, of course. But cornerback is a difficult position, especially now. The league, as we see, the league with evolution, the league is becoming more and more and more of this passing league, more passing, and it seems like nowadays you really can't even just look in the direction of a receiver, or you're getting a defensive PI call. But so for me, I think cornerback positions are very, very important, especially when you got a Von Miller, you got a Chubb, you got a Shelby Harris up front who's putting pressure on the quarterback. So I'm predicting a lot of coverage sacks this year, which is going to be very, very exciting to see. But leading back there, Justin Simmons is playing some darn good football, and I hope he keeps leading it back there for those guys.
I love how
back there in the show.
I love how you said coverage sacks, because if there's ever, another stat to be added, it's got to be some recognition on the corner's end to why Von Miller. You got 5 seconds, that's just too long. But let me know, guys, down in the comments. Be the judge. Rate the Broncos defense for the 2021 season. Scale it 1 to 100. Montee, what are you thinking?
Ooh, 1 to 100.
Yeah, we're going to open it up here.
I have to go 95 just to start.
There we go.
That's the floor.
Okay.
That's the floor right now.
You
95.
should work for Madden and start doing their rankings, because everyone would love you if you just gas them up.
Well, here's the thing. We got some leaders on defense. We know what Von's going to do. Hopefully, we want Von to stay healthy. Von, I know he wants to stay healthy. He's going to be dominant. He's going to come back and dominate. Shelby Harris has like the best hands in the league, it seems like, with knocking down passes. Obviously, our cornerbacks, we're looking like we are going to be a really shut down defense. We're just looking forward to the offense, that quarterback position really stepping up and us putting points on the board. We will be a lethal team.
Quick side note here, Montee. How much does it hurt getting tackled by Von Miller? I know you overlapped with him in Denver. Does that just suck with the capital S, or is it all caps?
It's not that. Von's not necessarily like a heavy hitter. To me, it wasn't that bad getting tackled by Von. To me, it just really sucked, for lack of a better word, trying to block him in practice. When you do linebackers versus running backs, I'm like, Coach, this man is making left tackles look silly. It's like, how am I supposed to one-on-one with Von Miller? Like, how's that going to work? But obviously, it made us better. Obviously, if we're capable of blocking one of the best rushers in the game, then that obviously set us up to, make a lot of blocks in the season, because not a lot of people are out there doing it like Von.
No, it's no secret that Denver's had some bad Septembers lately, all right? The team even acknowledged it. They put on their Twitter account the other day, rough starts early on. What contributes to that? Is it really just coming down to kind of getting, screwed over in the schedule, playing some tough teams, or how does that carry over from your perspective? Can you pinpoint it to something, or is it a collection of things?
That's a great question, and I think it would have to be a collection of things. It would have to be, is the coach getting these guys ready during preseason? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or are the starters taking the first 3 games of the actual regular season as preseason? So we really don't honestly know, but I guess the most important thing is that they are aware of it. They're mindful of it. So that the coach, Fangino, that he's saying this stuff to the players, that we do not start the best, and we need to. We most definitely need to. AFC West is a tough division, so they have to start on top. So honestly, I'm looking forward to them changing that around. I really am.
Yeah, and a thing that is going to help is their first 3 games this season, not very tough, right? 2 New York teams and Jacksonville, very winnable games.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's why I'm so glad that this topic has come up, because obviously I know that they're talking the same talk in their huddles in the locker room and stuff, that we need to start fast. We usually don't start fast. Giants should be a cakewalk. We should go into New York and obviously come out with a W there. Jacksonville, who knows?
Yeah.
Jacksonville, they're looking like they're putting their pieces together. Still a young team, though. Young team. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence, very, very young, of course. I think that we'll be able to get him rattled for sure, because he's going to play against the top defense week 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then obviously the Jets were the bottom of the bucket last year. They got a lot of building to do, but Zach Wilson seems like he's doing okay. But again, he's going to have to face the best defense week 3.
Montee, I'm sure you've gotten this before, but can you give us our Montee Ball crystal ball bold prediction for this upcoming season?
Absolutely. Bold prediction. I think that the Chiefs are not going to make it. I think that the Broncos are going to be facing the Browns.
When you say make it, where are you talking? Like AFC Championship game or playoffs? Because you are really going to have Chiefs fans getting their arrows out for you.
I'm thinking AFC Championship game. I think that the Chiefs, obviously, the Chiefs, that's a track team. They play some good football, but I think they're not invincible. I think our defense can shut them down, and I think we're going to be facing the Browns in the AFC Championship game.
Broncos fans, if you've loved this interview so far, go ahead and subscribe so we can give you more Broncos content, news and rumors throughout the entire season. Montee, this has been so much fun, but I got a couple more quick notes for you. Just your time in Denver. Tell me about the home field advantage. Just give some love to that fan base that is one of the best in the NFL.
Oh, man, listen, I grew up. We all know this. I've been a Broncos fan my entire life, ever since I was 8. Tweeted out a photo when I was drafted by them of me wearing a Terrell Davis jersey when I was 8 years old. That is my team, and the environment is exactly what I dreamt of it to be when I was a kid. It's wonderful. Love the field. Love the views, the fans, the colors, all of the above. Very, very difficult place for teams to come in and play due to the environment and also, obviously, the altitude. So, in my opinion, I believe if we can incorporate some hurry-up offenses like Peyton did for home games, that's going to set us up to most likely be undefeated at home.
Montee, I'm glad you brought up the sheriff, Peyton Manning, because you got to play with him in Denver for a little bit. And I don't think there could be more culture shock. It's like, a foreign exchange student coming to the U.S. When you go from Wisconsin quarterbacks, which, let's be real, now it's pretty good, but years past when you were there, not the best, to Peyton Manning. How difficult was that to go from, we can throw the ball 30 yards down the field?
Yeah, it was a bit of a cultural shock for sure. It was a little difficult transitioning from, gap schemes, power offense, I formations to about 80% of our runs being from the gun. When you do a lot of runs from the gun, what you do is you cut off that running back's line of vision when he's going across the center to get the handoff. So it's a learning curve for sure, but a blessing. It most definitely was a blessing. Got to take handoffs from one of the greatest of all time, a Hall of Famer, gold jacket, all of the above. Yeah. I wouldn't change it for anything.
No doubt about it. Montee, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for joining the Broncos Breakdown. Love to do it again sometime.
This was awesome. You fellas got something good going here. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it, Montee. That is former Denver running back Montee Ball.